5 legendary Japanese yokai you've never heard of. Introduction. Japan is famous for its ghosts, spirits, and mythical creatures, collectively known as yokai. To many people overseas, these beings first appeared through anime, manga, and games like Pokemon, Naruto, or Yokai Watch. But yokai are far older and more complex than pop culture suggests. They come from centuries of folklore, local legends, and even real historical events that shaped Japanese society. Some yokai are mischievous tricksters, while others are terrifying monsters that represent human fears, disease, death, natural disasters, or social taboos. Today, we will explore 5 of the most fascinating yokai you may not know. These include a woman whose neck stretches into the night, a strange old man who sneaks into your home, a chimera that terrified an emperor, a cat that transforms into a demon, and a monstrous ox-headed beast rising from the sea. Each of them is more than just a monster, they are reflections of history, culture, and the human imagination. So let's begin our journey into the hidden world of yokai. Episode 1, Rokurokubi, the woman with the stretching neck. Imagine walking late at night and meeting a woman who looks perfectly ordinary, until her neck begins to stretch, growing longer and longer, twisting like a snake under the moonlight. This is the image of the Rokurokubi, one of Japan's most unsettling yokai. There are 2 main variations of this creature in folklore. The first is the woman whose neck physically stretches, sometimes meters long, allowing her head to peer into windows, or even drink the oil from lamps. The second is similar, but even stranger, her head detaches completely from her body and flies around independently. Both versions turn a familiar figure, a woman in everyday life, into something uncanny and monstrous. So where did this legend come from? Some scholars suggest the Rokurokubi may have originated as a metaphor for women working in pleasure quarters during the Edo period. Their long necks symbolized long nights, or the exhausting life of entertainers and courtesans who sacrifice their identities to serve others. Others believe the imagery comes from illnesses, such as tuberculosis or other wasting diseases, that made the neck appear unnaturally thin and long. Folklore often turns real human suffering into supernatural imagery. The Rokurokubi also appears in art and literature. Edo period paintings and woodblock prints sometimes showed women with long, serpent-like necks, half frightening and half humorous. They became part of ghost story collections told in summer, a tradition meant to give listeners a chill during the hot season. These stories were not only for entertainment, they also reflected social fears about women's roles, illness, and hidden desires. In modern pop culture, Rokurokubi appear in anime, manga, and video games. They are often reimagined as both frightening and comical, sometimes even as sympathetic figures who struggle with their condition. For Western audiences, the image of a woman's neck stretching into the dark remains deeply disturbing, something uncanny, balancing beauty and horror at once. Ultimately, the Rokurokubi is more than just a monster. She is a reflection of how Japanese society used myth to express fear of the unknown, anxiety about women's independence, and unease about disease and morality. Like many yokai, she walks the line between entertainment and warning, a reminder that behind every ghost story, there is a shadow of real human experience. Episode 2, Nurari-hyon, the old man who slips into your home. Picture this: you are preparing dinner in your home, when suddenly an unfamiliar old man enters, sits down, and begins drinking your tea as if he belongs there. This is the essence of Nurari-hyon, one of Japan's strangest and most mysterious yokai. Nurari-hyon is usually depicted as a bald, gourd-headed old man, carrying himself with an air of authority. In folklore, he is not violent. Instead, he quietly invades homes, blending in as though he were the master of the house. By the time the family notices, he has already finished his tea and left, leaving behind a sense of unease. But what does this strange yokai represent? Some scholars believe he is a personification of unwanted guests, neighbors or strangers who intrude without invitation. In Edo period Japan, homes were often open, with sliding doors and communal living spaces, making such intrusions more common. Nurarihyōn turned this everyday annoyance into a supernatural tale. Later, Nurarihyōn gained even more importance. By the Edo and Meiji periods, he was described as the supreme commander of yokai, the one who ruled over other spirits. This transformation may have reflected the human need to organize the chaotic world of yokai into a hierarchy. The old man who once simply sipped tea became the general of an invisible army. In modern times, Nurarihyōn appears in anime and manga, such as Nura, Rise of the Yokai Clan, where he is portrayed as a powerful and dignified leader. He has also appeared in video games and card collections, often depicted as a trickster or a strategist. To Western audiences, he may seem like a small curiosity. But Nurarihyōn embodies something universal, the unease of losing control of your private space, of authority being quietly taken away. He is proof that yokai do not need claws or fangs to terrify. Sometimes, all it takes is the silent theft of comfort and security. Episode 3, Nu, the Chimera that haunted the Emperor. Now, let us turn to one of the most bizarre and legendary yokai of them all, the Nu. This creature is described as having the face of a monkey, the body of a raccoon dog, the legs of a tiger, and the tail of a serpent. A true chimera, stitched together from multiple animals, it is said to bring illness, disaster, and death wherever it appears. The most famous Nu story takes place during the Heian period. According to the epic Heike Monogatari, Emperor Konoe was plagued by terrifying nightmares and mysterious sickness. No physician could cure him. The court suspected that a supernatural being was the cause, and so the warrior Minamoto no Yorimasa was summoned. One night, a black cloud appeared above the imperial palace. From it came the cry of a strange beast, a sound like the call of a bird but twisted and unnatural. Yorimasa aimed his bow and struck the creature down. When it fell, the court discovered the monstrous form of the Nu. The emperor's sickness lifted, and Yorimasa's fame grew throughout the land. But the story does not end there. The corpse of the Nu was placed in a boat and floated down the Kamo River. Some versions say it drifted ashore in Shiga, where locals built a mound to bury it. Even today, certain regions claim to have the grave of the Nu, blending folklore with physical landmarks. What does the Nu represent? Some scholars see it as a symbol of political anxiety. The emperor's illness reflected uncertainty at court, and the chimera, made of many animals, represented chaos and corruption. By defeating it, Yorimasa not only saved the emperor but restored order to society. In modern culture, the Nu continues to appear in anime, manga, and video games. Its patchwork body makes it visually unforgettable, and its historical connection to the Heian court gives it weight as more than just a monster. For Western viewers, the Nu feels like Japan's answer to the chimera or the Sphinx, a beast that blends animal parts, terrifies rulers, and must be defeated by a hero. It is a reminder that yokai are not only rural legends but also part of Japan's political and cultural history. Continued in Part 2.